Hey everybody, welcome to the Power Hour of Love. I'm Charboil and this is
El Bandito.
Oh man, El Bandito, I gotta tell you what, man, it is a good week to be a nerd.
Absolutely, sir, because that's right. We're just coming off the heels of the San Diego Comic-Con, the biggest Comic-Con probably on the planet, probably in the history of time, probably in the universe ever. And we are super psyched because this is when we get all of our amazing news about the latest and hottest movies, comic books, and all sorts of action coming out of nerddom and across to the rest of this beautiful world of ours. So tonight, we figured we would take the time to go ahead and fill you guys in on anything you may have missed out there coming out from the comic world, because there is so much good stuff. We don't even have time to talk about all of it, but we picked our favorite things that we think were the best kind of trailers and announcements and things that came out, and we wanted to share them and talk about them with you guys tonight. But we've also got some very, very, very interesting news coming up in our PoDunk news segment, where tonight, man, we're going to tell you guys about Joe Bob Briggs possibly making a comeback on the Shudder network. I mean, he just broke the internet last week, so let's see what he can do coming back. And we've also got some other cool news stories to tell you guys about. We've also got some kind of wacky stories coming up here in the first segment, where we just want to talk about the San Diego Comic-Con news that came out that is a little crazy, because they got some crazy stuff coming out. But real quick, I know I talked to Senior Boyle about it. I wanted to give some shout-outs just real quick. Brian E., my boy out there, man, I know he's checking us out tonight. He's the hottest thing on blades, whether you put him on ice or, you know, out in a roller rink, man. The dude's a champ, king of the double hockey stick. So what's up, sir? Thanks for joining us tonight. I wanted to give a big shout-out to Shay Shay, a.k.a. the Cat Queen, a.k.a. Cheyenne. You know, hashtag teamwork makes the dream work. Thanks, you guys, for checking us out. And my Bill Billy Bestesses, Big Bob, and Nancy coming out there. You guys are beautiful. We love you so much. Thank you for joining us. My Graham's out there watching tonight, so thank you for that. You know, and I know my cousin Sarah, she passed this weekend, and I know she's watching now from heaven. So, you know, God bless her, and thank you for that, and thank you guys all for watching and tuning in tonight and being here. And I know she never has to miss an episode now, so
there you go, man.
I'm sure she's interested in some fun, awesome stuff. So let's check it out.
You know it, man, and we're going to dive right into stuff that we all love, and that's Comic-Con and all the wild news that's coming out, El Bandito. So let's get into it.
You know it. Hit us up with the first story coming out here about Tom King, the writer behind the recent wedding of Batman and Catwoman.
Oh, man, what was the talk of the town just a few weeks ago? But, man, now, you know, everyone's talking about it at Comic-Con, but not in the right ways. Well, not everybody, but some individuals have actually put out some death threats on Tom King. So he actually had to hire a bodyguard to back him up at Comic-Con.
Which is crazy. I mean, just because, like we reported a few weeks ago, the wedding did not work out in their favor. Catwoman left Batman at the altar, which, I don't know, I kind of saw coming. But, you know, he didn't. They thought things were going good. They built it up. They got everybody on board. And then, bam, dude, the old switcheroo there. Batman got left behind, and I think a lot of people were shocked by that. I grabbed a copy of the comic. I should have brought it out here to show you guys, man, because I had to get it. And but the news is crazy, and to think that people are such diehard fans. I mean, we wear our shirts and we do our shows about the Batman. We don't want him to see him getting his heart hurt like that. Come on now. But even with that, we can't go taking out Tom King because he wrote a story now.
I know, it's pretty crazy. But hey, we got to show. Can we show the people the juggernaut that he brought with him to Comic-Con?
Oh, you want to see some slides? Is that what you mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's show the people the backup that Tom King had at the San Diego Comic-Con.
You got it. Let's check this guy out, man. So first up here, beautiful San Diego Comic-Con artworks in your bowl put together there. I love that. But this is the dude he brought with him. This is Tom King over here. And this is the guy he brought. So, yeah, he brought some protection, man.
Oh, you know it, man. Yeah, look at this guy. I know I was saying this earlier, man, but like if they didn't already had cast Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin, I think this gentleman right here could have definitely pulled it off.
I think he could be the real life Kingpin. This dude looks like a boss right there, man.
Oh man, Chris Hall joining us in the comments. Thank you, Chris. He says, yeah, that's all due to those toxic fanboys.
Absolutely.
It's one thing to have fanboys, but man, those toxic ones, man. And we're not talking about the good ones like Toxie and Troma and all that fun stuff. We're talking about those guys that just take it too far.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bummed people don't try to kick our asses for doing the show. That'd make me feel good if people cared that much.
Hey, be careful. Big Steve might fill that request.
He will be after you cheated him last week on that game we were playing.
No, definitely. The win goes to Mikey. I know he's out there joining us tonight, too. We're going to have that wrestling prize heading your way real soon, buddy.
He did, man. He did. We checked the numbers. I went back. I personally watched through the whole video again, and it does get a little confusing in parts, but I'm pretty sure he did just sneak you out, Big Steve, so I'm sorry. But don't worry, because I'm going to take you out to see another movie again soon to make up for it. So.
Well, either that or I'll be kicking some ass. So, all right, so this is definitely Tom King. Let's roll to the next story that came out of Comic-Con, or at least came out the same weekend as Comic-Con.
Again, we got another kind of janky story coming out here with James Gunn, man, the iconic director here who has made this breakthrough movie with Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, both fantastic films, has now been fired. That's right, ousted from his seat as director of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 due to some Twitter comments and stuff that he made that are considered insensitive and in bad taste that he made over a decade ago. And, has said that he's really embarrassed about, feels bad, and his viewpoints have changed in a lot of ways. But
he's grown up. I mean, this is a guy that got his start. I mean, we were just talking about Toxie and Troma. Yeah. I mean, that was where he got his foot in the door, doing Tromeo and Juliet and the classic Slither, that came out, probably 15 years ago or so. It was about the little alien creepy things that came and got you. But, man, this guy kind of had a very South Park-esque attitude back then,
Yes.
And so, some of that transferred onto the internet. But let's be honest, guys, like I'm sure all of us, our viewers included, have probably put something on the internet that if you went back and read years later, you'd be like, oh man, like hopefully like my boss or someone never sees that. And we probably said stuff on the Power Hour.
I know I have, but I can tell you this, that to all the beautiful people watching at home and out there, man, all the kids checking out the program tonight, all the young adults checking out the program tonight, guys, just think about what you're saying, man. I know we all have that urge to just blast out our thoughts the minute we think them and try to say something funny or make a funny joke, but you never know how that's going to be taken by other people or how it might come around on you. So just double check your tweets, man. If for no other reason, make sure you spell it right. Gosh, what's going on with spelling out there? Hashtag watch our scroll down here more closely. Half the time we don't spell anything right. So.
Oh, Ben down here, he said if we saw what Lloyd Kaufman had to say. I did not.
I have not. No.
Feel free to share that in the comments, Ben. I'm sure a lot of people are interested to hear what Uncle Lloyd had to say about, one of his proteges. I mean, really, Lloyd Kaufman has paved the way
for so many.
I mean,
so many people.
Yeah, like we said, South Park. You know, and Cannibal and all those other ones. Like, I mean, those guys would have made their way over to Comedy Central.
But a lot of people immediately spoke out. Dave Bautista had things to say immediately. I know it took a day or two for Zoe Saldana and for Chris Pratt to come out and say anything, but they're all kind of alluding to the fact that, yeah, man, like, what are you guys doing? And like Bautista was like, no, bro, like that's trash. Why are you throwing my boy under the bus like that? But I think my favorite celebrity that I've seen make a statement on it so far is Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh, his if you guys haven't read that yet, go check it out. And I think Chris is throwing down some
comments about that. Yeah. Well, because I know he voiced the character Pain in the Hercules movie that Disney did, and they're right now adding his voice and performance to the rides at Disney.
Oh,
so he put out a tweet saying, "Yo, Disney, if you never read any of my old comments, feel free to just take me out of your ride right now."
Hey, that's great that he has that kind of backup.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said. I mean, we all understand that there's, when you come out on this great thing called the internet, and you say stuff or write stuff, chance it could come back to bite you. But the fact that you said it was 10 years ago, yeah, maybe it's in bad taste, but it's like, come on, guys. It just
everybody says something stupid. Come on, the first person to have never said nothing stupid, raise your hand. All right, there. Rest my case. So we're hoping that they reinstate James Gunn. They've got a lot of petitions roaming around the internet. If you support James Gunn and you think he's an all right dude and he's allowed second chances and he's allowed to say something dumb once in a while, because all of us have, feel free to seek out one of those petitions, throw your name down, but be careful, man, because now I got some water company calling me 600 times a day because I thought it was a petition for James Gunn. So be careful what you're signing on the internet. But let's show some love for James Gunn. I'm going to throw him some love right here. There you go.
Bring him back.
Right there.
I mean, I have a feeling Guardians 3 is not going to be the same without James Gunn's special touch to that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, let's why don't we roll into some cool Marvel news?
Yeah, let's talk about some good stuff Marvel did, right? So Marvel really hasn't put out a super ton at the San Diego Comic-Con. There wasn't a lot of announcements. I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6, I mean, we knew it was going to happen. They didn't really show us much. They told us that Clark Gregg will direct it sounded like the first episode, like the premiere of Season 6. So that's pretty cool that he's going to step in the director's chair. But as far as what's really going to be going down, there wasn't really a lot of news. As far as the movies go, we all know Captain Marvel's coming out in March. And, Infinity War Part 2, Avengers 4 is coming out in May. And then I guess Far From Home the official title now for the Spider-Man movie coming out in July.
I think so, yeah.
And otherwise, there's not really a lot of Marvel news coming out. So they decided to kind of do something a little special. And they decided, in honor of Infinity War, they handed out a limited number of Thanos-themed motivational posters.
I think we even have a look at one of these here on the. Let's put it up there for.
Yeah, let's see what kind of great words of wisdom Thanos had for us. So, success. The hardest choices require the strongest will.
So it's okay for Disney to put out this thing where Thanos murdered so many people.
half the universe, But James Gunn can't, you think they ain't gonna kill Thanos, man.
I like what Chris Hall says over here. He says, "Anybody ever seen Song of the South?" They're like, "Oh, I mean, if it's 10 years ago, it still counts. If it's 60 years ago, no. We'll put
they just don't ever release it on DVD, and it never happened. Thanks, Disney. We're watching you. We're watching you.
All right, come on. Let's get past the Marvel.
All right. Let's get past Marvel. Let's get past Disney. We got some great news coming out here. If you're a big fan of DC stuff, our second segment of the show, right after the PoDunk news, is going to be loaded with a lot of the awesome releases that DC had. I know most every show you watch right now, that's what they're leading with, so we figured we'd put that at the end for us. But we got some great reviews and some great news about that, so stick with us for that. But we've got some cool indie stuff we wanted to tell you guys about right now. That's right, we're talking Judge Dredd, man, coming back with a television series, right, called Mega City 1.
Oh, yeah. Starring
Karl Urban.
Oh, man.
How dope is that?
If you guys haven't done yourself the favor of watching 2012's Dredd, starring Karl Urban, after Power Hour tonight, go on and find it and check it out, because man, it was fantastic. Yes. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that remember the old Stallone movie. Just kind of forget that happened for right now. Go check this film out because it is awesome.
Yes, the Karl Urban Dredd is amazing. It takes so many calls directly from the original comic that was that sort of really dark, dystopian future where things were not looking good, and the judges were really the ultimate law, and they were bringing stuff back. But part of the thing with Judge Dredd himself was that he never took off his helmet, and the entire feature length of Dredd, Karl Urban never takes off his helmet. And for a notable actor like that, he plays McCoy in the Star Trek movies, he was in Thor Ragnarok, I mean, he's in so much great stuff, and to just be like, I'm gonna hide my face, I don't care if anyone even knows that's me. Like, that's quite a thing for an actor to do, but he was committed to the film, the story, the idea of Dredd so much that he went for it, dude. And aside from that, the ultra violence to it is great. The cinematography is some of the best I've ever seen. Like, it is great cinematography. Everything looks beautiful. They have crazy slow motion effects and stuff. Just super, super. Can't say enough good things about it. So if they're bringing back the spirit of that onto the small screen, I cannot wait to check this out.
Why don't you go ahead and throw up that photo of Carl Urban as that is like walking right off the comic book pages. And we know we got to give Party Man Will some credit, because he's always said these guys should literally just take how they look in the comic book and put it on screen. For the last 20 years. Well, I mean, Marvel has always kind of kept it.
They're
pretty close.
Yeah, they're pretty on point. Yeah.
But I mean, now it just seems like everything's like, all right, yeah, let's just it doesn't even look that different from what you'd see. But yeah, Dredd here, so awesome. Great acting, great story. Like, it's very interesting. Like I said, the action is great, like you said.
Yeah, along the lines of the superhero costumes, I think Deadpool is probably one that's like they're just bringing everything right out of the comics onto the screen.
Oh, yeah.
And considering they're part of the X-Men universe, that's done everything they can to avoid anything that even closely resembles their original costumes. I really applaud what Deadpool does to bring it right from the page to the screen. So.
Oh man, the Stallone film is getting some love in the comments, which is fine, because I remember going to the theater to see that back in 1995. I was definitely too young to get into a rated R movie, but I still got in there, and I got to check it out, and it was fun for 1995.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I love that movie. I love it. I think that ABC droid is like one of the coolest things ever, man.
Well, then you're gonna love this, El Bandito, because rumor has it that when this becomes a show, because we're not even gonna say maybe, because we know, the pilot's been written, nothing's been filmed yet, but it's gonna happen. But they're saying that Sylvester Stallone is going to have some sort of cameo where either he plays like an older judge or maybe one of the villains. So that would be killer, man. I'd be stoked.
Yeah, well, you remember in that original 95 film, they had like the elders that like used to be judges, but then they're like the elders.
Yes.
So I bet Stallone could easily be one of them. That would be hot.
Look at Big Steve's comment down. Did you see it?
Let's check it out.
Yeah, but Rob,
dude, come on. When he's all like, what are we supposed to do, Dredd? Just knock on the door and say, hey, Cursed Earth Pizza. That was classic Schneider, bro. That was probably one of his two best movies ever. The other one being The Hot Chick.
Do you think that Demolition Man made it possible for them to do a Judge Dredd movie?
Maybe.
And when you think about the dystopian kind of...
Yeah, but it's the kind of thing that Demolition Man, although seriously, in all seriousness, I'm going to look in the camera and say this, and you guys can put whatever you want in the comments, that is one of the most perfect movies ever made. Okay, there's like nothing wrong with Demolition Man. It's a great movie. But I don't think it was a big commercial success. I don't think the box office... I think it was panned by a lot of people, but I think that movie's awesome. So it's literally like one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, Demolition Man.
Do you know that the deal that they had with Taco Bell like ran out? So now like on all TVs, did they say like Pizza Hut or something? Like
I've seen that.
Yeah, they did.
You're like, what? You're like, no. It has to be Taco Bell, bro. I remember when I was a kid, it was like I don't think I'd ever been to a Taco Bell till I saw that movie, and then I like couldn't get enough of it, and that's where things went bad for me because you can't just eat Taco Bell like that.
It definitely didn't look like it did in the movies. Remember, it was all like fruit.
Yeah, you got like one chip with a little thing of guacamole in it. It was very nice.
Awesome. But yeah, so that about wraps it up for the news from the San Diego Comic-Con. But like El Bandito said, on the second half of the show, we're going to be talking about all the awesome trailers that came out. We can't wait to hear what you guys thought about them. But first, we're going to dive into some PoDunk news.
Yeah, man, we're hitting the PoDunk news fast and hard tonight because our second segment is going to be nice and long. So let's jump right into the newsroom, and we'll let you guys know about what's going on in this wacky world of ours.
Nice and long, just the way she likes it. Oh, no, in 10 years, I'm going to get fired.
From Disney.
PoDunk News.
Oh, man. Well, now it's that time.
Dude, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh right in the middle of what you're saying, but they're blowing up comments of Demolition Man down there. I love Steve Z's like, if there's one thing you have to say about Demolition Man, teddy bear.
Teddy bear.
That's that thing that would unlock over, remember, that he
gosh.
jumps out. And I love Brian E's like, you can take this job and you can shovel it, which is probably what James Gunn is saying right now. But yeah, man, I love it. Sandra's 10 out of 10, man. She's just
So much
so
for the
good.
3 seashells.
3 seashells. And to think, man, here you have, Edgar in that movie, remember, is like, and then he turns around and he's Captain Stacy in the Amazing Spider-Man.
It's okay
movies.
that he died in that. He didn't really want to be part of it. You're talking
true.
about Dennis Leary, right?
Yes, Dennis Leary, yeah.
He's on that. So I mean, imagine him being in a movie now, dude. I mean, come on. Disney doesn't want people who pee on public.
Sony doesn't care. I like that. Sony's like, get Dennis Leary to play the kind-hearted father figure? Yeah, perfect. He did that FDNY show. That was real clean.
It would have been
cut.
awesome if, like, Peter Parker found that video on YouTube, like the asshole. Is this your dad?
But
Glenn.
anyways, yeah, there's a couple other great comments down there. Disney's going to read your guys' comments too. Be careful now.
You get turned away at the House of Mouse. It's okay. Save that money.
All right, so we got some cool news coming out here. First and foremost, man, we're going to be talking about the Creep Show coming to Shudder in 2019. Tell them about it, Senior Bull.
Oh, man. Well, this is, I know, so PoDunk News the last couple of weeks, I think it's when the Horror Mafia came and joined us.
Yeah.
Like, we've just been feeling the need to throw in some extra horror, sprinkled in there. But we know the fans dig it. So, yeah, we're talking about Creep Show. If you've never seen it, man, this is the classic, George A. Romero and Stephen King collaboration from 1982. Then there was a sequel in 1987, which is cool because it still kind of followed Stephen King's stories. Neither of them returned to direct. But then there was like a really bad third movie in 2006 that had nothing to do with Stephen King or George A. Romero. But so we really hadn't heard anything for a while.
Yeah.
But now Shudder, now that they're starting to really gain some steam, they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to make an anthology show based on Creep Show.
Did you say the Shudder is really gaining some stream?
So yeah,
'Cause I think they blew up their stream.
it's time to get the bigger servers.
Yeah.
Hey, where'd that line come
Come on,
from?
Amazon, aren't you paying for that?
Yeah,
you got
I know.
some bucks. What's going? Quit getting cheap on me, Dodson.
I know. Now I think they will. Now, like the light's shining on
Yeah.
Shudder, or like the red light, or the
I
blood's
know
dripping.
those
on-
guys at Amazon are like, holy crap! Prime that Joe Bob Briggs some money over there.
Absolutely, man.
There's some of that Prime Day money right there.
Well, recently it announced that, and this might be a good thing, M. Night Shyamalan's revival of Tales from the Crypt has been put on hold, which I was kind of excited to see. I thought it would be interesting, but I think Shudder's doing the right move, where they're swooping in and they're like, hey, don't worry about Tales from the Crypt. We're going to get you some comic book, some EC Comics themed show going right here with Creep Show in 2019. You could also, if you join Shudder right now, I know they have Creep Show 2 streaming on there, so that's always a classic.
Yeah,
Thanks
it's
for the
awesome,
ride,
man.
lady.
I have to say, in all of the horror movies that that you have introduced me to, because I wasn't a big horror fan before, but the third ones are, man, they're always. That 90% of them is just where it all goes wrong. I think the Friday the 13th was the only ones where the third movie was great.
That was so good. Steve Miner, he did both the second and the third movie. I like both of them. It's hard to pick.
And it's weird because they almost seem so very different, but they do connect.
Yeah. They're like a day later.
Yeah. But they just have this really great different feel to each one that really evolves the mythos.
Absolutely.
So pretty cool
man.
stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to see it, man. I hope Shudder keeps doing its thing. As much as I don't want to be paying for 92 different streaming services, hey, I wish them well, man. Do your thing.
Absolutely, man. And we're going to get through some more little quick Shudder news, and we're going to jump into another realm, some video game realm. But like you mentioned them earlier, we got to throw it down, man. The news has been released that Shudder has made the announcement that due to the overwhelming success of The Last Drive-In, that they are going to bring back Joe Bob Briggs sometime later this year, which I think is awesome, man. Here's a guy that hadn't done this in 17 years. Shudder came up with the idea of hey, maybe you should come back and do it one more time before you're done. He's like, all right, I'll do it. So he does a 24-hour marathon live, breaks the servers because so many people wanted to see him. But yeah, now it's it's looking. We don't know if he's coming back for a new TV show or if it's just going to be another marathon. But either way, more Joe Bob Briggs is always a good thing. And not that we're like spokesmen for Shudder, but right now, if you go to Shudder and use the code JoeBob30, you'll get a month free. So
look at that.
Yeah, if you want to check out some of the Last Drive-In, watch Creep Show, definitely go out there and check it out.
I know, and if you're signing up for an account and you put in the hashtag PHoL for Power Hour of Love, nothing will happen. They don't acknowledge us. They don't return my emails.
The comments are blowing up with crazy, wild horror stuff. I have to agree with Chris Hall. Me and Party Man will watch Terrifier. And yes, we have to sit down and watch that because
everyone out here can't wait to tell me I'm wrong. Critters 3, Troll 3. What about Nightmare on Elm Street 3? Okay, I'm not a super horror fan. I'm just saying all the third ones I saw sucked. Psycho 3 sucked.
Man, I can't wait to
Jaws 3 sucked.
That 3D.
Yeah.
No. Leprechaun in the Hood. I think that was like Leprechaun 7.
All right, Leprechaun. If Leprechaun in the Hood was the third one, that one was pretty dope.
Yeah. But definitely, we'll leave all the rest of the horror news and talk to the Horror Mafia podcast. If you guys haven't checked them out, definitely jump on over after Power Hour's done. And I know they just threw up a new episode. And sometime soon, when we had our big collab, we said that we're going to get together and do a retrospect on the Psycho movie series. So, we can't wait to do that with those guys.
I want to have a retro forget about the Psycho 3. That's what I want to do.
Hey, Mr. Fusion said he really liked the ending to that one, so you might have to hold your...
maybe I'll have to watch the end, because remember, I just got up and left, so I didn't see the end. Man, if the end's really... The end of 2 is pretty epic.
Yes.
Although when I saw it, I was like so late. I was like, what the hell just happened? But then you think about it for 10 minutes, and you're like, that was awesome.
Just to kind of... I know I threw it out there in the Horror Mafia show, but... Psycho 2 has been quoted as being Quentin Tarantino's favorite horror movie. So
look at that.
Definitely, if you haven't seen Psycho 2, go check that out too.
Next time you're playing Trivial Pursuit, that's going to win you the game.
Well, here we go. Now we're going to jump into some cool video game stuff. Why don't you? What's going on here, El Bandito?
You want me to tackle the Fallout news out there?
Let's hear it.
All right. I know Shay was telling me how much she loved the Fallout over the weekend. She can't wait for 76 and all the awesome stuff going out there. But she did tell me that one of her favorites was also playing New Vegas, which she said was great because you could just do anything you wanted in that game.
So good.
Which I wholly agree. They don't penalize you for being a bad guy. If you want to be a bad guy, that's just the way you want to live your life and play your game. So, but unfortunately, Todd Howard revealed over this past weekend that it's very unlikely that Bethesda will let another game studio make a Fallout game, right? So Obsidian is actually the people who made New Vegas, while Bethesda itself was working on Elder Scrolls and, probably Wolfenstein and other stuff. Obsidian took the engine that they had built Fallout 3 on and created Fallout New Vegas. So in reference to Obsidian's 2010 game, New Vegas, there's been a lot of buzz about people kind of making mods and stuff and whether or not they would just let them make a whole other game. And Todd Howard's just like, dude, Bethesda's gotten so big. Like, we got so big, we could totally just do this in-house. They've got 3 whole studios now. I think they got, one in Texas now? They got Bethesda, Austin or something, I think it is.
I think there's one up there in Canada.
Yeah, there's one in Canada, and then their home base out there in Maryland. So, while Todd says he never likes to say never, it still looks pretty unlikely that a Fallout is ever again going to be developed outside of Bethesda itself, which is fine with me. They ain't doing nothing wrong as far as I'm concerned.
I agree with you, El Bandito. I mean, so far, I can't wait to see what they do at 76 and beyond. Yeah. I know there's always been a lot of internet buzz that there was a possibility of a Boneyard game, which would have been a Fallout set in Los Angeles, or a possible New Orleans setting. But the latest, you know how it is, man. Even though 76 isn't even out yet, everyone's like, where's Fallout 5? So they've said that there's a possibility that it may be set in New York City, which...
New York City!
I know, man. When you think about all the other video games that have been set in New York.
I hope it's Escape from Fallout.
That would be pretty cool.
New York City.
There you go.
They're getting, like the Gek is going to blow the whole place up or something.
Could be, man. Well, what
the FEV virus.
Imagine like being able to navigate all 5 boroughs. Go like someplace in Queens.
Yeah. No, that'd be cool. I'm going to go find the statue of Captain America out there in Brooklyn.
Dude, yeah, we're going to meet like a ghoul version of the Beastie Boys.
Nice.
Awesome.
Wait, I don't think they have rap in the Fallout universe.
They don't.
I don't think they do at all.
No.
If it wasn't on a tube TV, they didn't have it. So.
All right, so what we got next, El Bandito?
Let's check it out. That's all we got from Todd Howard. Thank you for that. We wanted to let you guys know about Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling. That's right, the ARW, man, formerly the AWE, putting on an awesome show coming up at the Space Coast Convention Center up there in Cocoa Beach.
Oh, yeah.
When is that coming out? Is that this weekend?
Yeah, that's this upcoming
Saturday, right?
Friday night. Yeah,
Friday night. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so yeah, doors open up at 6:00, and yeah, those guys rock out until sometime after 10 or 11. So man, they put on such a great show up there at the Space Coast Convention Center. And,
they do, and you guys can see they got Tommy Dreamer himself,
the innovator of violence,
ECW legend, man.
Mm-hmm.
So really super nice guy too. He was very nice. We seen him there a while back, and they have all their lead performers and everybody coming up. What other cool matches they got? I know.
Oh man, yeah, Tyson Kidd,
go.
former WWE star, husband of Natalia, the member of the Hart family. They also have Adam Rose over here, Jesse Neal. I know Shannon Moore. He's now their champion.
Nice,
so,
nice.
I'm sure he's going to either be defending or maybe fighting Jesse again.
All right. What about Amber Nova?
I didn't see her
there?
on the list, but I know she does circulate in that that group quite a bit. So I mean, absolutely,
she always comes out there off the ticket and just wrecks shop. So I love that. Just bang someone in the head with a giant wrench.
Oh man,
do it.
Jake Estrada's in the house with us. We're going to talk about Coco and Melbourne. Man, you got to talk about Boca's and all the great stuff that those guys are doing up there, the Insanity Rooms. Definitely a lot of love to you guys, and hopefully, maybe we'll be able to catch you at some wrestling.
No doubt, guys. We'll split some chicken wings.
Well, you guys, for all the fans, you guys can get in for general admission for $20 or $30 for ringside. But make sure if you want those ringside seats, you buy in advance because we know they always sell out.
Yeah, one of the best things to do is make a sign for a bad guy and get the ringside seats and try to shove it in their face. Make them grab it and rip it in half. That's super cool.
Oh, yeah. They're a lot of fun, man. Lots of crowd participation. Yeah. I mean, man, they literally came right into the crowd like during the last bout we saw. Like they were fighting and, jumping off of chairs and so. I know we had a cool gif at one point. We'll have to dig that up.
Yeah, we'll have to dig it up. We had a little video that you took of a badass Billy Gunn was there from WWE.
That was awesome.
And he was refereeing a match. Who was he reffing? Do you remember?
I know Jesse Neal was in it, but I can't remember who the.
I think Jesse Neal was the one that got put through a table out there. Didn't he?
I think so. Oh, it was James Storm.
Yeah, there you go.
From TNA Impact Wrestling and stuff like that. Yeah, that was awesome, man.
Super cool, man. We were like 10 feet away from that, and I think the people who were running that concession stand had no idea that was going to happen. So it was super cool, guys. You want to check out some great wrestling, man? It's always great to watch it on TV to get the behind the scenes, the soap opera, the drama, man. But if you really want the intensity of wrestling, raw and unfiltered, man, go see a live event. It's second to none, guys. I guarantee it's worth the $20. You're going to be there for 3.5, 4 hours, man, and have a great time. So get down there, check them out. Tell them the Power Hour sent you. It won't mean anything, but it'll mean something to us. And it'll mean something to you. So go down there and check it.
Well, man, we were talking about the Space Coast Convention Center.
Yeah.
Like, they host these wrestling events, but also upcoming in September, we got the Space Coast Comic-Con coming at you guys. So as that draws closer, we'll be getting you more info. I know they've been dropping a bunch of news on guests, and one of our buddies is coming to the Space Coast Comic-Con, man. We got Joel Winecoop coming to rock out, in September. I think it's September 9th, but go back and watch our Convention Mania show. We talk about it all, but we'll be talking about it also in the upcoming weeks to give you guys all the latest news.
I'm pretty sure it's the weekend of the 9th and 10th, though. So.
Oh, I love that. Mikey says, Power Hour Army represent. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Yeah, definitely. Like you said, tell them Power Hour sent you.
Can't we be the Love Army? That'd be pretty cool, right?
The love.
They'd be like, whoa, what are you guys doing?
How about the Love Doctors? Oh, wait,
no, we can't do that one. But no, all right. So that's going to wrap up the PoDunk news for right now. Let's get back into the studio, and let's talk about some more of the awesome trailers and news that came out of the San Diego Comic-Con. Man, they got some awesome stuff. We know you guys want to tell us your opinions about it. We want to share our humble opinions about it. So let's wrap together. Let's hit it back in the studio.
Woo! Oh, man, El Bandito. Like you said, we threw down some crazy news that happened, but it always gets people talking.
What's
it's a comic convention, but man, like, everyone goes and they drop the bit. It's like
the trailers.
Yeah,
They want to see the trailers.
It's like the E3 of the comic book world. They're just they're saying, hey, guess what's coming soon? But it's always a lot of fun and really cool to see what they have shooting our way in the next year or so.
It is, guys. We've got some really cool stuff here, some teasers of some of the things we're going to be talking about, and again, a really fun image here that Senor Bull put together. But without any further ado, let's jump right in to the first thing we saw that we thought looked hot, man. We're talking about the Iron Fist. All right, don't freak out. We know a lot of you guys are like, Iron Fist? That shit was boring,
Yeah,
but you got to check out
rough.
the trailer for the latest season because it looks pretty hot. Tell them about it, Senor Bull.
Well, I definitely, I liked what they did with Danny Rand, Iron Fist in the Defenders.
Yes.
So, I mean, if they kind of go a little more on that, down that path, I think this could be really cool. Like you said, it's just one of those stories I think was a slow burn. You know, like once you get past the first season, this will probably be pretty rocking. Like, I mean, Daredevil season 1 was awesome. But, man, once you got into season 2 and he was rocking the costume and the Punisher showed up, like, that was
like
badass.
off the hook. Yeah. They stepped it up to 11.
So we'll have to see what comes down Danny Rand's path, in this new season. This is debuting on September 7th on Netflix. And, we'll just have to see where this goes. Like, I'm really, starting to wonder if there's going to be a Daredevil season 3 because we're getting all these other sequel seasons, but we haven't seen Daredevil yet.
I mean, kind of the buzz out here is that Danny Rand may be taking Daredevil's place while he's out of commission here.
Oh, man.
And how much of Luke Cage have you seen?
I'm not. I'm like on episode 7.
Okay, there may be some Iron Fist shenanigans.
All right.
That might boil down at the end there. You like what I did there? Boil down.
I was about to say, be careful. Iron Fist shenanigans could probably get you fired from a job 10 years in the future.
I said Iron Fist, not Iron Fisting. All right, so next up, let's see what we got here, man. Oh, is this an accurate list that we have? Are they going in that order?
Oh, they
because if it is, this next one I wish we'd have waited for, but that's okay. I know all the DC fans out there want to hear something coming out of their camp.
Hey, how about this one, though? Before we jump into this one, give us a Mikey threw down the Legion of Love.
I like that. I saw that in the comments, too. I was going to say that because that sounds great.
Or Love's Legion.
I like the Legion of Love. That's great.
Instead of Legion of Doom.
I know, because, exactly. We sound like we're getting down to business.
There you go.
Speaking of getting down to business, man, the lovable youngsters from the Teen Titans have apparently grown up and gone to the dark side of the new DC Universe, which is their streaming service. Premiering later this year, actually. Love the logo for it. I should have grabbed a clip of it. It's like that new round DC logo, kind of kilter, and it says Universe. I really love it. I think it's great, man. But I'm not loving a lot of the stuff I'm seeing on that show. And this thing was no holds barred. Just the weirdest freaking trailer I've seen in a long time. How many people out there, watching tonight have seen it? Throw something down. Tell me what you thought of it. Because, man, I hate to be the one who bags on DC, but I'm like, bro, what are you doing? How are they like, we're going to make Teen Titans Go the feature film because this is what people want. And it's even more of a kiddie thing than the Teen Titans show. But then the DC Universe live action is going to do this. And I mean, this Robin looks cool. So if you haven't seen the trailer, you probably think we're nuts. But he comes out here dropping F-bombs.
Yeah, that was
saying
definitely...
F Batman when people are like, oh, it's Robin, but where's Batman? He's like, F Batman. And I rocked my Arkham shirt because I'm pretty sure this is how Batman's going to look if he hears Robin talking like that. But I'm just like, bro, come on. And then he starts slugging people in the head with baseball bats. It looks like he crunches some dude's neck real bad.
I think he shoots a guy or two.
Yeah, and you're just like, dude, what is going on? And besides him and his cool costume, and I think Hawk and Dove look pretty legit. Like, everyone else looks like they're out of some 90s TV show, just wearing, like, punk street clothes. Raven looks super weird. You know, I don't have any issue really with Starfire because were you going to put that costume on TV? No, they had to do something. So I don't super mind the way it looks, but I don't know why they went so over the top with the CGI on that. It's a live action thing. We get it.
We got some comments down below.
I gotta
Definitely
look.
check them out.
Yeah, you know, DCU has zero continuity. Teen Titans Go comes out Friday. I'm on that. Screw this garbage.
Well, I know one thing Mike said in there. He said, "Oh, you know, this is about Teen Titans with real problems like student loans and." You know.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Yes, I see it now. But dude, yeah, I'm not getting why they're choosing to go so dark on this. And we didn't want to stand out here and say a bunch of bad stuff. We're the Power Hour of Love, man. We like repping what we love and saying that stuff's good. Boinka, boinka. But we'll let some other people who posted on the internet say what they thought. Here's this guy. Marvel, Inhumans is terrible. DC, hold my beer. Watch me make this Titan show a piece of trash.
I like this next one over here.
We got...
Go ahead, man.
I suddenly appreciate Teen Titans Go now. I like the guy who posted, this show seems like Teen Titans Stop.
Stop.
I like this one here. Gotta come back to say that the Teen Titans trailer is the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life, and I once actually watched a frog jump into a boat propeller. So, not gonna imagine. That's pretty bad.
Absolutely.
I love this one here. Me seeing the Titans trailer after hyping the show up for months. I come before you today humbled and humiliated for hyping that up, man. Oh, man. All right. This one here, this one got me, though. All right. From Patrick Williams out there. I kind of appreciate the Titans trailer arriving right on the 10th anniversary of The Dark Knight and perfectly embodying all the wrong lessons we learned from it. Because let's face it, that's exactly what this is. It's the same thing DC's been doing since The Dark Knight came out and was like one of the, few movies at the time to have even made $1 billion. And it just made $1 billion out of like nowhere, and everybody loved it. And it was a fantastic hit. And they decided that everything needs to be that grim and terrible all the time, not realizing that that's a particular thing that works for that particular script and that particular way of displaying the universe. But I mean, it's not to say that Batman the Animated Series was that dark and gritty. It certainly wasn't. Batman Beyond wasn't that dark and gritty. I mean, they're both dark and gritty, but they're all shades of black, man. And once you start getting into something like Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, and the Justice League, those shades of black don't just hold up anymore. I mean, you're talking about characters that came out in the 30s and 40s that were people to garner inspiration and hope and give kids a role model to look up to. And why they continue to go down this route just baffles me. When you can watch a Marvel movie and see like Captain America is exactly the same, came out in the same era, had the same star-spangled goofiness, and they were able to make that character serious without taking away the good-natured heart that character had or the positive role model that he can be for children. So I don't understand why Superman has to resort to being a jerk, being mean to people, taking away people's livelihood, being a crybaby, feeling like saving people is a burden, and then destroying half the city and killing someone. None of that seems very super or like what I want my kid to grow up to be like. So come on, guys. I get having a cool, fun, and dark movie, but let's make sure that the story and the characters in your fun, dark, gritty movie are actually supposed to be there. And that's the end of my rant on that, and I'm going to leave you guys with this. Come on, guys. Any thoughts in your
little? Well, I think you kind of hit all the right spots.
All the hot points on that one.
I mean, I remember, when they first put out that photo of Starfire, a group of individuals that I know online were really bashing it. And I was like, well, come on, guys. Let's actually wait to see, what it looks like when it all comes together. Those guys are probably laughing their asses off right now because I mean, yeah, like you said, even people that do like the dark and gritty comic book films, like I think they watch this and they're just like, what are they trying to do here? Like it's almost like Frank Miller got a hold of this and this is the new goddamn Batman thing.
And let's face it, All-Star Batman was not a very good comic. Like it was kind of neat and interesting to read for a few issues, but how many people read past issue 7?
Yeah, it was like I remember when I read it and I realized, oh wait, this is actually like the story that leads up to The Dark Knight Returns. Like, this is that Batman. Like, back when that was written in the 80s or, late 80s, it was like, oh, well, that could be Batman later on. But eventually it was like, well, now things are so different that it would never develop into that Batman. So I like that aspect of it. But you're right. It was so weird and so angry and so, like, it's filled with so much stuff that would get you fired from Disney. It was just so different,
I mean, I understand that people want to have, like, grown-ups who grew up, people our age who loved these iconic characters when we were kids. We'd love to see a more adult version of them. But I don't see Captain America as not an adult version of the character that he was. But I understand that a lot of people feel like he isn't, that he is too much still of a Boy Scout, and he has a skewed, not realistic perspective, and they don't like that. And those people seem like they're perfectly satisfied watching Deadpool. And Deadpool is still spangly and fun and bright and vivid, and, it doesn't have to be a movie I feel depressed when I leave. And like all those other movies, I feel depressed when I leave.
I like what Chris Hall said down here. He said they sucked all the life out of Teen Titans and blew it into Shazam. We're going to be talking about Shazam in a few minutes. We got a few other. Let's get off the Titan train.
No doubt. Well, I do want to mention Mike. He put a comment out here, says he wants a Green Lantern movie with Michael Jai White playing Jon Stewart, and he should be the darkest part of it. Him, all broody, but the rest of it light, which makes a lot of sense. Almost like the Lanterns are trying to instill that happiness in him or that good-naturedness in him. That makes sense because that would have a story arc for your character, that he starts off grim and dark, and maybe they can help him find a way to help people and feel not so broody. But when Superman is like, it's a burden for me to come and save you, that he's like, you're like, come on, dude. I would hate that guy. I would hate that Superman. He would drive me crazy.
Absolutely.
Thinks he's better than me.
All right, so
you're not better than me,
now we're leaving Titan Tower.
All right. I'm sorry. Let's talk about Doctor Who. Some more female representation out there, which we sorely need, coming off the heels of Wonder Woman and leading into both Captain Marvel and a solo Black Widow movie. In the meantime, we have got Doctor Who. Man, fill in the void with an awesome, awesome female doctor who came out, I think, last Christmas, and they're actually jumping in to the new season, and they talked about some stuff. What news have they got on that front?
Well, pretty much, of course, that's going to be showing up on the BBC, where it's been for like the last 60 years. I think. I mean, I know that show came out in like 1960.
Black and white.
Yeah, it was old school. So but the surprising thing is usually by now they would have had a release date. And so they haven't really announced the official release, but they said it will happen in the autumn. So I don't know, maybe it's going to be a little later than what they usually start with, but it's definitely coming. So all the TARDIS fans out there, make sure you just hold on to your phone booths, and it's coming. It's coming.
We definitely noticed the trend last year that a lot of movies were starting later and later in the season. A lot of things starting in December and January. So again, too, that same thing sorts to be popping off now. And moving into our next release here, our next new trailer, talking about the Orville Season 2, man. I know we got a lot of Star Trek fans out there. Party Man, Will, Justin K. You guys are my boys, and we'd be loving some Star Trek. And I know they all got mixed feelings about the Orville, but I know Kelly Jade and I sat down and ran through a bunch of this stuff and had a super blast watching it. She had never seen any Star Trek ever, so she was mesmerized by all of the technology they had. That is totally a ripoff of Star Trek.
Didn't you tell me Will Riker directed a few an episode of this?
He does. I believe he's directed a couple, Jonathan Frakes, and he's also directed some of Star Trek Discovery as well.
Who is that again? Oh, you mean
Jonathan Frakes?
Will Riker.
Will Riker, yeah.
Party Man would like that.
But yeah, I like the Orville. I love the fact that even though it's Seth MacFarlane, it's not any kind of dirty comedy. It's a very family-friendly show. It's a lot of fun. It really, like talking to my sister about it, who's been career military U.S. Navy, hoorah out there, do your thing. I don't know what the Navy says. I said hoorah, but that's probably not a Navy. How about this? I'll show you some love. There you go. Some love for the Navy.
Love.
There you go. But anyhow, she tells me this is what it's like on a real ship. People having fun, kind of goofing around, serious about their job, but also they're normal people, and they're going to say fun stuff and have a fun time. So I think it's a great show. I think if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, check out Season 1, streaming on Hulu and stuff like that. So it's a blast anywhere you can catch Fox. Season 2 is going to premiere December 30th, I believe. And,
a little bit of a wait, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, that kind of mid-season jump in, man. So super fun. It looks like this season's actually a little more serious than the last one. It looked very serious, more action-packed, a little bit more dramatic. Still fun, but not entirely focused on fun like kind of the first few episodes and the first season trailer was.
I gotta at least quote Mr. Fusion's quote down here.
Okay, what do you got?
I fucking love that shit. That's quoting Mr. Fusion, by the way.
I know. Thank you. Thanks for keeping it safe for all the kiddos. It's okay. It's almost 10. They're fine. They shouldn't be watching our show anyways. They'll get fired from their job at Disney in 10 years.
It is going to be the Power After Hours. All right, so definitely looking forward to the Orville.
Looking forward to the Orville, guys.
Towards the end.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think of the Orville. So let's see. Coming up after that, well, not after that, but December 14th.
Oh, yeah. Now, that's the Japan release date, so we don't know when this is going to hit the States. Lately, with this whole Dragon Ball Super thing, they've been really kind of keeping it neck and neck, where back in the day, we had to wait like 2 or 3 years before Dragon Ball made its way over here. The popularity is definitely huge. I've watched probably a good 75% of Dragon Ball Super, all Japanese with the English subtitles, and I'm really digging it. I like that it pays a lot of homage to the Dragon Ball Z story. Sometimes it does get, to me, it gets a little repetitive. Like I'm kind of like,
just one punch and over 9,000 screens.
But I know we've got a ton of Dragon Ball fans out there, and I want to know what you guys think about the upcoming Brawly movie, just to kind of give you a quick thing on what Brawly is. Like in the old DBZ series, like they had the movies, which were their standalone things. They never really interacted with like the TV show, but like 3 of the movies had this villain called Brawly, and he was like, you got Super Saiyan, but he was like the legendary Super Saiyan.
Nice.
So he was always like more powerful than Goku and Vegeta, and they had to do some different stuff. But then they defeated him like 3 or 4 times, but now he's coming back to the Super era, and we're going to see what happens in Brawly.
I got to say, earlier we're talking about Taco Bell, now we're talking about fajitas. I'm getting hungry, man. All right, we need to wrap this up. Now, see, I know a lot of Dragon Ball Z history and stuff because Gamer AF, man, we're coming out soon with his playthrough and review that him and Senor Bull did that I promised you guys like 4 months ago. It's actually coming out. It'll be Dark Souls versus the Disney Afternoon Collection, and Gamer AF took the opportunity to tell me the entire history of Dragon Ball Z over the course of like 14 hours at Thunderdome Gaming and Big Dog Comics up in Fort Pierce in the corner of Midway 1 and U.S. Road. So if you wanted to learn about Dragon Ball Z, go down there and talk to Gamer AF. He's more than happy to tell you all about it.
Well, to lead us into the next slide, I have to say, Kamehameha.
And you broke the glass, man. That's right. We got glass coming out January 18th. Guys, this looks incredible. Now, I know there's a lot of people who didn't even really remember Unbreakable, and then Split came out, and they were like, this made reference to something? What is it referencing? And then anyone who was a fan of Unbreakable is like, this is the hottest thing ever. And I know that I'm a super fan. I showed this to Party Man Will when it first came out, and he was like, dude, I don't even like comics, and this is amazing. So if you haven't checked out Unbreakable, if you haven't checked out Split, man, you are not ready to check out Glass. But go and check those out, because this is probably going to be one of the greatest comic book universes coming together here for its Avengers-style movie right here, which is going to be pretty cool. And there's only one hero, but this is it. It's their 2 separate films, decades apart, coming together to make its own like super villain team up.
Well, I gotta say, I know El Bandito, you said you want to go into the movie with no expectations. So I know you decided not to check out the trailer, but just so we could give an honest opinion, I did watch it, and I have to say, like, I am more excited to see this movie now than even when it first got announced. I, kind of had heard about the Split connection before I saw the movie. So it wasn't as like mind-blowing, but I do remember when you and I first met so many, many, many years ago. I think one of our first conversations was about Unbreakable and how we both really enjoyed that movie. So I know this has been a long time coming, and like I said, I know, myself, you, and Party Man Will have said we're going to check this out, and all of the Love Shack out there with us.
the Legion of Love. There you go.
We will have to go out and check out Glass, because it's going to kick ass.
Heck yeah, man. So, but dude, that's cool. I totally forgot about that because I have a terrible memory. Rich T, that is not Jamie Foxx. That's Sam Jackson, man. Come on. Like I said, this is sort of the anti-Avengers because I guess it's villains teaming up to take on the good guy. Mike is like, bro, what is Split Man? I never heard of Split Man. What's a Split Man? No, Split is the name of the movie that James McAvoy is in. He might be pulling my leg, but I'm going to answer him as though he's not. But James McAvoy has a split personality. And it's an amazing film, and at the end of it actually ties in a universe to Unbreakable, and that kind of tease at the end has, turned in to this Glass film, and dude, it's just killer. It's killer.
Yeah.
Go check it out. I'm trying to think of something to say. It's like a spoil it. Go see the movie. James McAvoy is amazing. He played Professor X and a number of other fantastic things. I've drawn a blank right now, but he was the young Professor X in the newer X-Men franchise films. And
he's going to play the lead role in the upcoming It sequel.
There you go.
So there you go. You got other stuff coming. But like El Bandito said, go watch Split and then check out this trailer because you're going to watch it and be like, dude, what the hell is that guy doing?
Yeah. Like the guy, he has a split personality, but it's like 20 different personalities. So he seems like a crazy person. But one of his personalities has apparently abducted a number of young women. And the others are kind of trying to find out why and what's going on. And some of them want to help him and some of them don't. And it's really wild and cool. And go check it out. That's a very layman's version of it. But.
January 18th, 2019. So we got some months ahead of us. But, man, it's going to be awesome.
You got some time. Go check them out. As the date approaches, we'll let you guys know where and when we're going to go. And if the Legion of Love wants to show up and rent out a theater, we could do that.
Oh, yeah.
Like together, we're not going to rent out. Everyone.
Collectively.
Yes. So, because that's what this is about, a collective of different pieces.
So next are we going to rent out an aquarium for this next one that we have going on?
We can definitely rent out an aquarium, like a 5-gallon one. We're talking about the Aquaman, guys. Now, this was a hot trailer that everyone has been waiting for, and it busted out, and man, it's on my news feed, top of the list every single day, every single minute. I'm pretty sure everybody out there saw it, man. Let us know what you guys think of the Aquaman trailer. I have to say, there's a lot about it I like, a little something I don't. So I'm going to talk about the lot of bit I like first. Go ahead, Senior Bull.
Oh, man, well, I got to say, like, the stuff that I really dug about it was, like, all the costumes and stuff. I feel like Aquaman now is like the one character in the movie that doesn't resemble his like comic book counterpart. Like, Mira looks like from the comics.
Amber Heard. Oh my God, so hot. Love that girl.
Black Manta. I mean,
Black Manta
blasting the little things from his ass.
Dude, Black Manta is choice. Whoever did that, like, he gets the costume award this year. It's just great.
But I don't want to steal any of your thunder, but I'm not really sure what's going on in the movie besides the whole thing with his stepbrother. I guess he's going to challenge him or something. But aside from, I mean, I get it. We don't want it to be spoiled, but I wasn't really sure. I like the stuff when he's a little kid. Like when he's like a little boy and he's getting picked on. But that's almost like a thing now. Like it's like almost every. I mean, we all know the superheroes before they had their powers or they got picked on and stuff. But it was just like somebody said
they're trying to relate to us nerds that got picked on when we were like, hey, did you guys read Aquaman? And people were like, poof, poof, give us your lunch money, kid. And they're like, we'll relate to them by showing that Jason Momoa was once a wuss. I'm pretty sure at 14 that guy was 6'4", weighed 220, and nobody was picking on him.
No, Chris says he's got a huge man crush on Momoa. I mean, Khal Drogo for life, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
He's badass, man. He looks great.
Yeah.
I mean,
best part of Justice League.
Oh,
easily,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I kind of like drunk Aquaman.
Yeah, man. He's just like, I'm just gonna do whatever. So it's fun and it's cool. I have to say, all right, I'll throw out my little beefs real quick. What's the movie about? Like what? Like, what are they doing? It's just his life story, apparently, but is there some drama to it? Is it just an autobiography? I mean, I get it. As an adult now, he has to fight with his brother or something, but for why? Like, what's... So, I don't know. I didn't really get that. That seems like kind of a tired, played-out story, and kind of like what we just saw with Black Panther. And this seems to kind of fall into the same folly of Black Panther, where a lot of it looks way too CGI'd, with these little, like, CGI sharks, and... that underwater look to me, I don't dig. That's just me personally. I don't dig it. I think it makes everything kind of look like a painting and kind of fake. So the whole thing could have been CGI. It wouldn't have made a difference to me. But other than that, it looks fun and bright and vivid, and I like that. And if people are going to be riding great white sharks and like eating people and stuff, and hey, I'm going to check that out. That sounds cool. I wish I knew why they were doing that, but whatever.
I did like the scene where him and his brother are battling, and I'm sure Aquaman gets like the upper hand over, and it just kind of sends that like shockwave through, and everyone's like, yeah, I just thought that was kind of like a cool scene. If they play that out really good in the movie, it could be a lot of fun.
But again, that crowd looks like you could have just taken a crowd from Shrek and it would have looked exactly the same. It just looks weird to me. I don't know. And I get it's that underwater foggy sort of look. But I don't know. It didn't work for me. But either way, yeah, like you're saying, it looks fun. I hope that Black Manta has a very large part in the film.
Sure.
And it's very little about this stupid story of him being a king. I'm done with kings. We've had so many king movies that weren't even comic movies that when they did Thor, I'm like, I'm kind of tired of this king thing. But at least it was kind of mostly on Earth, and it wasn't really about him being king because Odin was still there. But the Black Panther thing was like so boring about the king stuff. I'm like, I don't care. It is kind of neat that it seems like Jason Momoa is Killmonger's part though. Like he's the guy that got sent away and coming back and be like, no, I should be king. I don't care. And then he's just going to kick his brother's ass, who's kind of been doing the right thing the whole time. But whatever. We'll have to see the movie and find out. It's just I didn't get a sense of what was going on. I love how people are bagging the poster, though, for looking like Finding Dory. If you haven't seen the movie poster for Finding Dory, go Google it real quick.
Another quick thing I just wanted to mention is that it's being directed by James Wan, who's like most commonly known for doing Saw and The Conjuring. So it's like it's interesting that he's going to be doing a superhero film. So that kind of makes me like, well, hey, look what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Maybe more horror directors should.
No, dude, look at the guy that directed Ant-Man. What was his name? Peyton Reed.
Yeah.
He had hardly done any movies before he jumped out to make Ant-Man, and that's a huge success. So I love giving indie directors a shot to go out there, and not even indie, but up and coming directors. Their first shot can often be right on the bullseye, man. So let's do it. I love it, man. I can't wait to see it. I'm happy that it's happy. It looks like a mostly fun movie where people are like, yeah, and enjoying themselves, and cool, fun stuff is happening that I can care about and get into. And speaking of fun, cool movies with fun stuff that looks like I can totally get into, we got to talk about Shazam.
Absolutely, man. When I clicked on this trailer, I wasn't sure what to expect. I was like, I know the story of Shazam, and I always thought he was kind of a little bit of a throwaway character. But man, like after it finished, like I'll be honest, I ran and got my wife and kids and like showed it to them. I'm like, you guys have to see this. This looks so fun. And like the part where he's like dancing around and punching the wall. Dude,
right here. This is the best. This is the best, right? So for anyone who doesn't know, Shazam is a 15-year-old kid named Billy Batson, and he says Shazam, and he turns into this like big red superhero guy, right? And he becomes a superhero. He's calling down this ancient magic and stuff. Watch the trailer, you'll get it. But the first thing he does is like go to a liquor store to buy beer because he looks like an adult. And I'm like, that's the best. Like totally the way you would abuse your powers if you were 15, But yeah, dude, this looks so killer fun. I love the introduction of the old wizard who makes him Shazam. I think it's beautifully done. This is kind of the story of a kid, but it's not like the superhero as a kid getting picked on.
Yeah.
It's like the whole story's about the kid. He's like a 15-year-old kid who can turn into a superhero. So it's super, super cool story. And it's very unique, very original. Wasn't owned by DC Comics originally. Was created by some different people. We're going to do a definite history of Shazam before this film comes out. Because there is some great Shazam history. He actually has serials in black and white live action made as far back as the 1940s alongside the Superman serials. If you've never seen them, look up the Sadistic Shazam serials. And dude, like when Billy Batson would become Shazam, he would run out there and grab a Gatling gun and just rip into people. And he would throw bad guys off a building that was like 100 stories tall. I mean, this dude does not play, right? But again, he's magic and he's a kid and it's crazy. So it looks super fun, man. And I really dig it. Again, vivid, bright, fun, kind of family friendly, man. This to me is what comics come to life is.
It's not F Batman.
Yeah, F Batman.
Yeah, but I saw in the comments here, I saw Mikey putting that it looks Disney as hell. But honestly,
he's talking about Aquaman.
Really?
Aquaman.
That was Disney. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you were referring to.
I'm pretty sure that's what he meant.
Well, I mean, Shazam does look like it's really following that Marvel formula of having kind of like a lot.
Well,
of
he
comedy.
is Captain Marvel, right? So.
That's true. That's true. Now. One thing I was surprised in the trailer was that we didn't see Black Adam.
Black Adam.
They've been saying The Rock was going to play him for months now, maybe even a year. But it sounds like they're going to, after Shazam, they're going to do a solo Black Adam movie and then have them kind of go at it.
Which
later.
I think is great. Black Adam's a phenomenal character. Traditionally in canon, he's an Egyptian who got the power, in the ancient times of Egypt, and. He was so evil that they locked him up, and Billy Batson accidentally gets him released somehow. Something does. Who knows what they'll do in the movies? But we'll go over some more history of that. But I think The Rock has a great look for Black Adam being sort of this 5,000-year-old Egyptian man with that quasi. Looks like every race mixed together sort of appearance is always how he looked in comics. So I think The Rock definitely pulls that off. Also, the one note I have to say is The Rock's got the size.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is Levi, what's his name?
The guy who's playing the Shazam?
Yeah, his name's Levi.
Man.
It's like something Levi. I know for sure. And he's an in-shape guy, but he's not this big. And it's like the fake muscle suit is a little too overdone to me, where if you kind of look, he doesn't have any traps back there. His neck is just kind of straight, and then his shoulders come out real wide. And that looks a little weird to me. Like, did we run out of, guys in Hollywood that lift? What's going on? So get some, Brock Lesnar-looking dude up there. Or say, get Batista to be Shazam, something. But, but I get it. The guy's a good actor. He's a lot of fun. He's a great comedian. He's super fun. So, if it works, it works. I just think they could have gotten away with toning down the muscle, and it wouldn't have been so bad. But whatever. They went for it. They went full gorilla, and they're having fun. And maybe there's a joke about it in the movie. So let's check it out. I think it'll be great. Coming out April 5th. 2019 should be a super ton of fun, guys.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, I know we said we were going to kind of get more into the comic stuff and lay off the scary, but we do got to dive a little bit into some scary stuff.
Oh, man.
It's
still comic stuff.
It is. That's true. Yep, AMC returning with The Walking Dead Season 9, October 7th. Same thing. I know this hasn't gotten released on Netflix, so we're not going to talk too much about what happened last season. But from what we've seen so far from the trailer, if they were going to have a subtitle, I think Civil War would probably be a great subtitle for this.
Very cool, man. Very cool. I have yet to check out Season 8, man. I'm waiting for it to pop on Netflix. It should be any day now. I can't believe they didn't try to get it out before the Comic-Con, where they're going to release news about 9. But whatever, guys. I was powering my way through the CW anyways and all of their fantastic shows. But if you're, it's like Game of Thrones. You're either a fan and you're a diehard, or you don't watch it at all. So if you're stoked, we don't need to tell you about it. If you're not stoked, you don't want to hear us talk about it. Walking Dead Season 9 coming October 7th to AMC, where they crush it.
You know it. And that's not the only thing coming out on AMC that you guys should check out. We got to talk about Season 4 of Better Call Saul, debuting August 7th, right around the corner.
Now, dude, I'll tell you, my parents will not watch Breaking Bad. They're like, no, man, that is a messed up looking show, and it looks very messed up. But, dude, they can't get enough of Saul. I feel like they're kind of like the people that he's always conning, like the old people, And my parents aren't that old, but I think, old Slippin' Jimmy kind of won him over the same way, But this is a fantastic show I can't get enough of. I think it's hands down the greatest prequel anything I think I've ever seen. I mean, as a prequel show leading only a few years into another show, their ability to keep in continuity, but with all these original stories and content and ideas, and it makes you feel and fear for different characters. The way it handles all that is just some of the most superior writing on television today. AMC is second to none when it comes to writing stories for television, guys. So if you haven't checked any of this stuff out, I suggest going out there and check it out. It's a little bit of a dramatic movie or a dramatic show. There's a lot of those kind of it's going to linger on a shot of the desert for 8 or 10 seconds. You're just supposed to kind of absorb it, take it in, get the setting. So I know that pacing's not for everyone, but if you're a real auteur, if you're really a cinephile, this is something you can't miss, guys.
And I mean, just look at this photo right here. I mean, this almost like describes everybody, you got to go out and you put on the happy face, but behind closed doors, everyone has, demons and stuff that they're dealing with. And one thing we will say is that while Better Call Saul is a prequel show, there are very occasional moments where it will do a flash forward, and you see Saul after the events of Breaking Bad, and they're always in black and white. So that really makes me wonder if this poster is a little foreshadowing of what we might see in the future.
That's another great nod to kind of just film in general, is how black and white is almost exclusively used for flashbacks nowadays. So that their flash forwards being in black and white is really cool. So they do a lot of great stuff on there. And I have to say, look, this is while you're directing Guardians of the Galaxy. This is 10 years ago when you were posting messed up shit on Twitter. So,
absolutely. Well, I know earlier, Big Steve, who I think is actually a time traveler, threw down something in the comments, and you better believe that we would not leave tonight without talking about this.
Gojira! You know it, man.
I know El Bandito, I mean, you've watched Godzilla movies. You're not, a stranger to
I know
these,
what
right?
Godzilla is, yes. I'm familiar with it. I watched Kong Skull Island or whatever that was.
Well,
I said Scroll Island.
Scroll Island.
Still thinking about comics.
There you go. He's the Marvel brain. But yeah, man, watching this trailer, I really liked the Godzilla film that came out a few years ago. I thought that was a great representation of the creature and what he was doing. But man, this is it's called King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
So there's going to be other monsters in it, which just has me so stoked. I mean, of course, Godzilla being the biggest and baddest, but man, possibly some Mothra action, possibly King Ghidorah, coming,
all them shits.
It's looking like it's going to be an awesome flick, and they're just really sticking to that source. I know it's been, before the Godzilla movie that came out a few years ago. I mean, it had been 10 years since we had got the Godzilla movie. Nobody recognizes Zilla and the terrible 1998
Matthew Broderick movie. Forget about him. Instead, check out this new one that also features Bryan Cranston from your AMC Breaking Bad fame right there. So definitely pretty cool there. If you're a big Godzilla fan, man, we urge you guys to head on down to the corner of Midway Road and US 1 where you can see Captain Joel out there, who is a super huge Godzilla fan. He just got a brand new set of business cards with Godzilla on the back. So they're super wicked and super cool. He's got all this Godzilla memorabilia. He's got old action figures. He's got comic books. He even has his own comic book that I believe is an IDW comic.
Yes.
Where they are, Godzilla himself is crushing Big Dog Comics. So you can buy that collector's edition comic that he has personalized for him in store. You can even get Captain Joel to sign it for you there. He's a good guy. Head out there. Tell him the Power Hour sent you. Don't tell him you're friends with us, though, because you'll know you're riffraff. But...
there was only a limited number of stores that actually got to have that put in there. So, like I said, it's definitely a collector's item. And, it's just so cool to be you could take a picture outside Big Dog Comics holding the Godzilla comic that's crushing Big Dog Comics, So definitely check it out. And definitely go check out this trailer if you're a fan. Or even if you're just hey, I used to watch Godzilla when I was a kid. This will bring you some feels for sure.
Yeah, and not to be a hater or something like that, I don't know even how you'd quantify it, but I remember the kids in school that would come up to me and are like, "Bro, did you see this Godzilla movie? I'm sorry, I really love Godzilla." So, and they were the guys that I was like, "Man, this guy's like a nerd. Get out of here. What's the matter with you?" So I got to sit down and check out these Godzilla things, man, because it's obviously people love it. They, and it's got to be good. If they're pulling Bryan Cranston in, it's not trash. I saw the Kong Skull Island. They got Sam Jackson out there. They got Tom Hiddleston. They got Brie Larson. Wasn't great, but people love it. So let's check it out. Let's see what's up, man.
Well, they're setting that up. It's definitely there's definitely going to be a Kong versus Godzilla movie in the future. I know they wanted to do a sequel where we could really see Godzilla fight some of the classic other.
I was always a big fan of the Mecha Godzilla. Like I don't know much about it, but I'm like, so someone just built a giant robot version of Godzilla to fight Godzilla. Thus, Pacific Rim is one of my favorite movies.
The kaiju, yeah.
Because that's a great idea. Yeah. If there's giant monsters attacking, build a giant-ass robot, punch it.
Well, remember that final scene in Pacific Rim where they go down to whatever it was called, the rift or whatever it was, and you don't know what the monster's going to look like that comes up? When we went to go see that movie, I was keeping my fingers crossed that was Godzilla that was going to come out of that rift. But, it's all good.
Oh, man. Hey, we'll have to see Pacific Rim 2 and see what actually came out of the rift there. We'll see what happens.
Oh, yeah. I still haven't caught that, man.
Yeah, I haven't either. Is that even out yet?
That came out back in February.
Did it? I don't know. Maybe.
It's probably on demand now.
Okay, well, we'll have to check it out. We'll have to check out. We'll have to get in touch out here with Big Steve Stu, who says he's got every single Godzilla movie ever, and he wants me to sit down and watch a marathon, and he says he's going to tie me to a chair. And that has something to do with something else. Don't worry about that.
Well, I loved the fans are in here jumping in, loving Godzilla, talking about anime, talking about what they want to see. So yeah, definitely, guys. Yeah. Thanks.
I love Chris Hall posting down about the significance behind the characters themselves, and I have heard a lot about that since I was a kid, of the sort of kind of subtext mythos of the atomic weapons having created Godzilla kind of a thing, and the subtext behind that. So it sounds really, really cool, man. I'm definitely going to have to check it out. So.
You know it, man. It's always one of those things where it's like, I'm surprised that Party Man Will isn't a fan of wrestling. Like, I'm actually surprised you're not a fan of Godzilla. Just like
I probably am, and I just don't know it yet. So.
That's awesome. All right, well, we got one more collection of shows to be talking about tonight. Throw it up there, El Bandito.
Like we said, man, we were talking about me burning through the CW in hopes of catching all of it before the SDCC kicked off all the trailers and stuff. So I missed a little bit of it. I haven't quite finished out Legends yet, but I got to catch the big three, the Arrow, Flash, and Supergirl. And man, they've got a lot of news coming out from the Arrowverse coming for next year. What do they got, Senior Boy?
Oh, man, well, the biggest news is that the shows are kicking off in this upcoming October. Usually sometimes they start in September. Yeah. Like you said, some of these shows are starting a little later.
Yeah.
But probably the biggest news, even from their release date, is that Batwoman is coming to the Arrowverse in the big crossover episodes. If you guys have watched these series of shows over the last 2 or 3 years, some of the best episodes have to be when they do the Avengers style. Everyone gets together to kick some ass.
Yes. This past year, their crossovers with the Earth X, that's like the Nazi parallel universe. That's one of the best things I've ever seen, man. And I have to say, if you're a big fan of the Marvel shows on Netflix and stuff, this is scaled back a bit, all right? It's CW,
sure.
I've said it before a number of times, like the intro to Daredevil costs more than a whole episode of Arrow sometimes. And it's CW, so they kind of have a lot of relationship-y, girly stuff. But this ends up being kind of fun for the whole family sort of stuff, where everyone can get together and watch this. The Flash is so uplifting and heartening.
Oh, awesome.
The Arrow has become such a drama of the workplace, how to deal with other people, how to deal with relationships, and then the Supergirl thing is totally just fluff stuff, but a lot of family things. So you get family in one, you get kind of friends in the other, and you get kind of work and acquaintances in the other, and it's just all good lessons about how to live your life. So basically everything we're saying they're not doing in DC films, they're totally crushing in DC TV on the CW. I can't say enough good things about it, even though it's a little bit of a watered-down version of a lot of what we see in films and on Netflix and stuff like that. These are still fantastic shows, and bringing in, I believe it's Kate Kane.
Yes,
is the Batwoman, and I remember reading a lot of the Greg Rucka books that he did with her and Montoya, Renee Montoya, The Question, that were phenomenal. Now, Greg Rucka is a big gangster writer there, so he writes all of the old school kind of Batman stories with gangsters and things like that, with the superheroes and supervillains mixed in. It is kind of a seedy, dark world that Cat Kane lives in out there. But the Batwoman coming to the Arrowverse might be pretty epic, man, because it might just be that little sprinkle of danger that Arrow kind of left behind, that grit that Arrow kind of left behind in season 2 might really fit in well with the Batwoman. Because like I said, a story that utilizes it and needs it, it's going to work in. So I think that's going to be a cool fit.
I've always felt like, at some point Arrow would have to introduce Batman just because of all the villains and all the situations,
or all the times they kind of say something about Batman. Talking about the Oracle stuff and things like that. And I know this past season 6, they had a pretty blatant reference to Batman.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but I remember
not
it was
as bad
blatant.
as Gotham or something.
Something like that. Or someone says, I dressed around like a bat or something. Like it was something so on the nose that I was like, wow. But a lot of people are complaining that 6 years and the Arrowverse hasn't been able to mention Batman by name, because it's not within their license to do that.
Yeah.
But then they're going to come out with Titans. F Batman is the first time we hear. Come on, man.
But we can say who else is coming to the Arrowverse to particularly take on Arrow, and that's the Longbow Hunters. And if you guys have never read those old comics, man, be sure to go check those out, because, man, you want to see, like, Oliver Queen be put through the paces. Like, I mean, the last few years, the Arrow, like you said, have really kind of pushed him to a level. But man, these guys, they're gonna really bring a challenge to Oliver Queen and his team.
Now, see, I'm stoked about this because this is one comic story I'm not familiar with. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and pass on the comic version and check out what they do in the show. So I think that'll be really fun for me to kind of get a fresh set of villains and stuff that I don't have any sort of preconceived notion of. But same thing here for the new season of Flash, who's revealed their big bad. And again, is someone I'm not familiar with. Can you talk on that, Senor Bull?
Sure, yeah. They've revealed Cicada is actually the big bad for the upcoming, or at least, who they're presenting as the big bad. Flash has kind of had this little thing of kind of pulling the old switcheroony on us, but still, I think he's a great character. He's an early 2000s character. He's like a living lightning rod, so he's not really a speedster,
but he's fast.
Yes,
right?
yes, and
Light is pretty fast. Although I'm pretty sure the Flash is almost faster than Light at this point.
Absolutely, and he actually has these lightning bolts that he can just throw. So I think he's actually killed other Flashes. So at least in the comics, obviously it's like multiverse skipping and stuff like that. But so I think that would be a great follow up to what they did in season 4 without revealing any spoilers. So if you guys haven't caught up yet, but I think Cicada will be a real wild villain for the Flash.
I think the fourth was that the fourth season? Yeah, that's the fourth season we just watched.
Right?
Yeah, right. But I think them not having a speedster villain for the first time was fantastic. I loved that season.
Yeah.
I thought it was I was blown away by how cool that was. And their interpretations, everything I think was great. Steve Z wants to know if that's Inigo Montoya that I'm talking about. And Chris Hall's on it. Detective Montoya, who I believe actually did predate the TV show. But she may not have. I'm not 100%.
Oh, yeah, you're
on
saying
that.
the animated series?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she
was in some of the old comics. Her and Bullock both were, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They were always partners.
Yeah, but she really kind of got her notoriety in the animated series as kind of the rookie cop, and Bullock was the guy that was kind of like the dirty detective. But then Montoya really took off as the Question in the first 52 run that DC Comics did. So a lot of fun stuff there, man. If you want to check out some of those books, Big Steve, just hit me up. I know you can either grab them at Big Dog Comics or from me.
Well, man, I was going to say the Question. That's a great character that I think would be awesome to see come to life in the Arrowverse. Onomatopoeia, Kevin Smith's creation. I know Kevin Smith has said he would give them permission to use him, but he just doesn't think it would translate well. That character does a lot to do with snap, break, bang, all the classic signs that you see in
comics on the panels. The actual onomatopoeia, he would say it and be mimicking it. But I think it could work whether they used him actually trying to mimic. Dude, think if the dude from Police Academy was played onomatopoeia.
Now, that would be pretty
What's his
awesome.
name, Michael Winslow or something? Yeah, that guy
I got
would
the
crush
boops and the
it.
boops and the boops.
So that would be really cool. I have to say, Kevin Smith's work in The Flash is always great. This latest season, I'm gonna spoil it. He totally Jay and Silent Bob are totally in that junk.
That was
And I was
awesome.
Like, that's
I
great.
loved it.
And they may not have been Jay and Silent Bob, but they were Jay and Silent.
They were. Well, he directed that episode
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
so
He
it was
directs
awesome.
at least one every season.
Yeah.
And Jason Mewes has always been in it, like the
Yes.
episode that he does. So, but for the first time, Kevin Smith put himself in the episode as well, and that was great. I like Chris Hall's backing me up. He's like, "Yep, that's Detective Montoya right there," and yeah, she's super great.
Motormouth Jones.
Yeah.
That's the Police Academy. I remember they were saying they were going to do a remake. I'm kind of glad that they've not touched that.
Yeah. And Big Steve, we got you. We know that's a Princess Bride reference. we know. We're super nerds, bro.
You know it,
We
man.
talked about the whole Princess Bride panel that came to MegaCon. You remember?
Well, man, just to finish up the DC Arrowverse shows, we got Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to spoil anything from last season, but it looks like John Constantine is going to be taking on a more full-time role in the show. So I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of Constantine fans out there, whether your first iteration of it was the Keanu Reeves film or the original CW show that unfortunately got canceled way too soon because that was pretty awesome. And his appearances in Arrow are pretty notable.
Oh, yeah.
And were great. But also the Hellblazer comics that he's been in for decades are awesome.
You know it,
So
man.
there are a lot of big John Constantine fans out there. So I'm excited to see him be part of Legends. I think he works great with time travel because of his ever-persistent sort of abilities, but also his ability to sort of work in the scope of different themes throughout history. I mean, you want to talk about, hey, be careful going to medieval times. With a time machine, they might burn you as a witch. But John Constantine might be able to help you out in that situation,
I'm just thinking at some point they're gonna introduce Dream and kind of get into the whole Sandman stuff, which I know I'd be super stoked about. I know they say it's unfilmable, and I remember we said somebody was thinking about making a movie of it, but
You think they might do that on Legends though, or just in general?
I'm just thinking. Well, I remember that was always the big talk with the Constantine show.
With Constantine,
Everyone was like, "Oh man, they're eventually gonna get to Dream and get to all that stuff." But like I said, just like you said, it just didn't last. But it's great that same actor has reprised his role, and now we get to see him be on Arrow and Flash.
Yeah,
and
I'd love to see his show get picked up on maybe this DC Universe thing. I mean, come on, you guys are green lighting all sorts of trash. Throw a good Constantine show up there. Just pick up whatever they were doing at CW and run with it,
Oh, we're getting a lot of remake calls out here, man. Revenge of the Nerds remake needed. Now, how could that be a movie now? Like the nerds have inherited the Earth.
I know.
Like what revenge? It should be Revenge of the Jocks.
Yeah, we're gonna watch a movie where jocks pick on a bunch of nerds. No, we don't want to see that. Yeah, Porky's remake might be good. That's what Steve Z says. Porky's remake.
Porky's, but that's man, they're just so classic.
Yeah,
man.
it is. That's
them.
kind of like the same thing of people are like, oh, we should remake Back to the Future, and you're just like, what? No, sir. We don't remake movies that are perfect. You just leave them alone. I think we've learned that lesson with Ghostbusters. Yeah. I mean, AMC says it's one of the most timeless films ever. The original 1984 Ghostbusters.
It's so good.
It ages perfectly. Like nothing's really too outdated. Nothing was so in style that it's outdated now. But man, come on. Don't try to mess with the classics. Just leave them alone.
You know it, man. Well, I think we've had an awesome review of everything that's been going on over there at the San Diego Comic-Con. One of these years, El Bandito and I are going to take our traveling vigilante podcast and invade SDCC and definitely have the Legion of Love behind us. But man, until that day comes, we're more than happy to sit here, share it with you guys, communicate, have a big nerd party, and just enjoy all the stuff that's coming a few months from now.
Absolutely, guys, man. There's a lot of hot stuff. We enjoy sharing it with you guys. We enjoy hearing your guys' opinions about it. We appreciate you listening to ours. So thanks, guys, so much for that. We're not sure what we're doing next week. We had some plans, but they got a little kicked around. But we're thinking we're going to hit up some awesome gaming, man. So if you guys enjoyed our live gaming segments in the past few months, whether it was Rage, whether it'll be this playthrough and review episode that we're going to put out in a little while, we're probably going to do some gaming next week. What do you think's in your board?
Yeah, you know what? Why don't you guys go ahead, man? Tell us if you want to see some gaming next week. Maybe even throw some games in the comments that you'd like to see us play, and we'll see what we can do. Now, like you said, try not to make it too hard on us. Unless, I don't know, maybe we
the
might
Japanese
be
version of... Come on.
There you go. You know it, man. No, I think that would be a lot of fun, man. You guys let us know what you want to see because, like we said, it's all about the Legion of Love here. And
yeah, and as our horror movie invasion continues, it's all for you.
Absolutely. All for hey, we got to sprinkle a little horror love in there every once in a while. But like we said, if you guys haven't had enough tonight of this podcasting action, jump on over and check out the Horror Mafia podcast. I know they just put out a new episode today. So, and I think it's only like 99 days to Halloween.
Oh, man.
So
I know we're gearing
coming
up. You wouldn't believe all the people I've had asking me about Halloween parties and stuff in your bowl. It has been crazy. But I will say thank you guys for all the love out there. You know, we love you guys back, man. We're going to throw some love for all the beautiful people hanging out with us tonight. Woo! There you go. Big shout outs to everybody that was watching earlier that I called out, man. Love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you, guys. We'll catch you next week.
Oh yeah, man. Everyone party hard and keep up with the love, man. We'll see you guys next Monday night, 9 o'clock for a rocking good time here at the Power Hour of Love. Yeah.